Hello there, and welcome back into the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. My name is Sam Hind, and I want to take a little bit of a breath today for this podcast. Social media and technology has totally taken over our worlds. I, for one, live behind a computer screen for my business. It's what I do day in, day out. And as much as I love what I do, it drains the soul. Why does it drain the soul? Because technology, social media is constantly moving. Unlike so many other jobs that we might have had over the years, things that we did growing up, they stop and they start. You've got business hours that you start at 9 a.m. in the morning, you finish at 5 in the afternoon. And for the most part, you've got the opportunity to switch off. The thing about social media, which is so important for our businesses now, and the thing that we're showing you how to use to grow, is that it doesn't stop. And I find myself often getting very caught up in my devices. Every time I walk past my phone, I tap that screen to see if I've got another notification. I catch myself checking my email as I go past my computer. And I have had to, over the last couple of years, implement some things, which I'm kind of preaching to myself here as I do this podcast episode, which I haven't got amazingly good at, but every day is a work in progress. Now, the reason I want to do this particular episode is we're about to move into a time of rest. We're moving into our Christmas break, the time that we want to be present with our families and, most importantly, present with ourselves. And I want to tell you about a few of the things that I do to try to help myself when I'm taking time off to switch from being completely focused and having my head buzzing to how do I rest? How do I be present with my family? But how do I do it in such a way that I'm not completely letting go of everything? And here are some of the things that I have learned that work for me. Hopefully, they might work for a few of you as well. And I'd love to take you on a journey of rest and recovery so that you can come back into 2021 feeling excited, enthusiastic, invigorated, inspired, motivated, and most importantly, energetic and soothed, ready to go and having you looking forward to it. So let's talk joy in your business, joy in your life, and presence with your family. Let's get on into it. Now, I've got a few things that I want to walk you through. And like I said, I am not perfect at this. I'm telling you about this journey that I go on because I know that for so many of you guys, you are working parents. And I think this is probably really tough for people, even when you don't have children. Just to be present with yourself is a challenge enough. But let's have a little bit of a look at the few of the things that I've had to try over the years that I've found really help me to get myself out of the work mode and into the relax mode. Not that I'm great at relaxing. But one thing that I find, and I'll often say this to Greg, I'll roll over in bed and he'll be like, are you sleeping? Like, what's going on? And I'll often say to him, my brain is firing. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like my brain is just going bzz, 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 bzz the whole time if I haven't taken time to switch myself off. I know exactly what causes these problems. And it's one of those things I have to take myself sometimes through a bit of a process of slapping myself back out of it and getting back into some good habits. Because I don't know about you, but often I'll wake up in the morning and I think, why do I feel like I haven't slept? And the second I'm awake, almost before I'm awake, my brain starts thinking of all these things I've got to get done or I haven't done or don't forget or you've forgotten or, you didn't contact that person. And I realize that there is no space in those times for me to, number one, rest, but also when you wake up that way, I know for me, when I come out and I see my kids getting ready for school and moving around, my brain is like, I just don't have space for anything else. And I'm not in that time the best mum I can be. And they're those moments where you find yourself beating yourself up internally. I know I do that to myself a lot when I get into those stages. So this year, when I go into having a break, I want to have a break. I want to be present with myself, present with my kids. I want to spend a little bit of time for us, as you guys have heard me mention before, I'm a Christian. I want to spend a little bit of time alone with God as well. And that might look like something else for you. It might look like a bit of meditation time or just a little bit of soul searching. But for whatever that looks like for you, if it's important that we take that time to refill our soul. So one of the things I want to encourage you to do is, number one, prepare and plan. This is key to getting good quality time. And this is something as well that I've learned about myself over the last couple of years. I'll go into a weekend, for example, and I'll think, all right, we're going to go, because we often go water skiing at the lake. We have got a beautiful spot. We're members of a water ski club where we go literally every Friday pretty well throughout from October through to May every year. Our caravan lives on site, and Friday we pack up all of our stuff after we finish work for the day. The kids, we all go, we get in the car, we tow a boat down, and we go and we literally camp. It's glamping, let's face it, in our caravan for the weekend, and we spend time water skiing with our friends and hanging out. That's how we do downtime. It's an amazing opportunity for us. We're very, very blessed that we get to do that. But here's the deal. I will often take my laptop, and if I'm not finished for the day on a Friday, which, let's face it, as a business owner, when are you ever finish for the day? I'll think to myself, I'm going to get in and do, I might give myself 3 tasks I want to get done over the weekend. And what happens is that I wind down with my kids, I chill out, I might have a couple of glasses of wine with a friend, play a board game, go for a water ski, drive the boat for the kids. Before I know it, I get into Sunday and I start feeling that sinking feeling, that overwhelm, that sense of I haven't got done what I needed to get done. And instead of then relaxing, I start to feel the anxiety pick up. And it's a big no-no, I've discovered, to give myself tasks when it's time to have time off. Number one, because I'm setting myself up to fail. And number two, because I'm not allowing myself to have that quality time with my family and with myself that I've earned and I need in order to be better at my job on a Monday. Because what happens then is you get into Monday with stress and anxiety, and you're not coming in feeling refreshed, ready, and energetic to go. So I'm going to take this into Christmas time, and I'm going to apply it there as well, because what I don't want to encourage anybody to do is to go into that break with a plan to manage your social media while you're meant to be taking time off. So preparation is key here. So my suggestion for you, and what I'm going to be doing, and I'm committing to doing for every weekend going forward, is making sure that I do not take things into my time off. So this does mean I need to be a bit organized, and I need to book things into my calendar, make sure that I'm getting my posts scheduled, my creatives done, my images ready, my ad copies or my captions, my text, any communication I'm going to have, I need to have that done in advance. Now, does this mean I don't communicate with people when they comment on my posts? Not necessarily. I would still jump in maybe for 5 minutes a day, and I make it a point of doing it maybe just at the beginning of the day when I'm having a cup of coffee or something like that, and just quickly checking if anyone's commented on a post and interacting with them. But if there's anything that requires any more than that, for example, if they say, look, I need you to contact me and talk to me about a particular process, or can I sign up to a course, or can I find out more information about blah? I will message them and say, I would absolutely love to help you with that. I'm currently away with my family, and I think people really respect that, and that's important that you do communicate that you need your time as well. And I will get back to you at my earliest convenience because you're also important to me. So that way I'm acknowledging that I'm not going to deal with it right now. I have got their message and I plan to get back to them ASAP. And I'll start to keep a little bit of a list in my diary for when I do get back to work. That way I'm offloading my brain. I'm not having to then remember this to-do list of don't forgets and build that anxiety back up, but I'm allowing people to know that I'm being truly honest about what I can and can't do, and I'm going to get to it. So that's my first thing, is strategizing and planning. So I highly recommend that you block into your calendar before you take time off some good quality time to work on your social media content and schedule your stuff in so you can walk away knowing it's done and it's taken care of. Also be a little bit mindful about things that are time sensitive. So for example, if you're going to put something in there, last year I did something that I fully regretted, which was I thought I scheduled a post that was going to be something that may or may not be relevant depending on what was going on, because I knew that there was potential that there was, special things happening at that time. And this particular post would be a great thing to go in conjunction with if things panned out that way. Turned out, because I'd scheduled it, I'd switched my brain off and I didn't think about it. And of course, the post went, the event that the post was relevant to didn't go. And suddenly we had this post that made absolutely no sense go up. And I had to go into panic mode trying to remove it and then answer all of these random questions. So also just think about the fact that you might be switched on right now, but in 2 weeks' time, you're hoping not to be. So don't plan to use yourself. That's a big tip to me as well. Don't plan to use yourself. I tend to get overexcited because I'm in work mode now. It doesn't mean I'll be in work mode in 2 weeks. Okay. Here's a couple of things that I also recommend that you do just for your own well-being. And the first is set some ground rules for switching your tech off. Now, I find that because don't forget that technology and devices is not great for your sleep. The blue light, for one, is really bad because it fires your brain up versus helping it settle down. So one thing that I try to do, and again, this is going to be a new practice for me to get back into, because habits, I formed a great habit in this space and then I slipped back into my old ways. So one thing that I'm going to be doing again from now is making sure that I switch my phone off and I do not look at it past 9 p.m. I'd love to get that time even earlier if I could, but that's always been my little ground rule, is no devices after 9 p.m. I have, however, very proud to say, stuck with my other rule, which is I never, ever have my phone in my bedroom. And here's why. If you're like me and you're really passionate about what you do, and you tend to take work into your sleep and get a little bit anxious when, you start thinking about all the stuff you've got to do because you are passionate about it and it matters to you, then having your phone next to you means that when you wake up to grab a drink of water or go to the toilet, what do? You check your phone. The other thing on top of that is if you've got a phone that's getting notifications, you might be hearing the bzz, bzz going through the night. So I made a rule about 5 years ago because I think Greg was ready to pull his hair out, which is, let's face it, he has no hair. So maybe that's what happened. But I decided I was not going to any longer have my phone in my room because I am my own worst enemy when it comes to that stuff. So if I'm going to be tempted, I'm going to take the temptation away. And my phone now lives in our lounge room on charge every night. So 9 p.m. at night goes on charge. I don't touch it. And it goes onto airplane mode as well because sometimes I can even hear the vibrating from there. We get that many notifications. And so that way I can sleep without any devices. I've also canned TV from my bedroom for the same reason. Greg and I no longer have a TV in our room because, again, we want our room to kind of be a sanctuary of peace and we want it to be tech-free. So that's one of the ways that we kind of switch our world around as much as we possibly can in that space. So nighttime rules are really important. And I encourage you as well, if you need to have other rules around that, maybe for other times of the day, particularly while you're on holidays, do what you got to do, but give yourself some tech-free time so you can be present in the world around you. Now, here's a couple of things I'm going to put out there that I've maybe a little less on the tech side and a little bit more on the soul-soothing side. One of the things that I really take a lot of joy in doing when I get some downtime is journaling. And I don't mean journaling how I'm feeling. You might be one of those people that likes to do that. I used to do that. I haven't got back into that space. Maybe I will one day, but I'm not there at the moment. However, what I mean by journaling is journaling kind of reflections, if you like. So more reflecting in a journaling kind of a way. One of the things that I like to do is think about what's going well, what I can improve on, what I would also like to learn. So these are a couple of areas where sometimes I need to take a little bit of space out and balance things. So we can polarize our world, we can polarize our work, we can polarize how we're feeling. And we often walk away from a situation or work, particularly at the end of the year when you're tired, feeling like you're quite negative about things, or you might feel really positive about things. But what I really like to do is take a bit of time to reflect and balance. So if I'm feeling really awesome about something, I like to take a bit of time to stop and think about how I could improve or what didn't go so well. And I don't want that to sound negative, but there's importance to that as well because it's bringing you back kind of to the center. So it's really great to sit in elation for a little while. If, we've just come out of doing a 3-day course, which was amazing. We loved it. But when we come off that on a really big high, at some point we're going to have to come down. So what Greg and I like to do is stop and spend a little bit of time just going, all right, so this went really well. Here are the things that went really well. Let's really celebrate that. Let's also have a look at some of the things that we really feel we could have done better or that didn't go so well that we could improve on next time and bring ourselves back into a state of equilibration. We want to get back into the middle there. We want to be in a place where everything is kind of hovering around the middle. So we're not sitting in negative land and we're not sitting in elation world either. Now, it kind of comes that way when it comes to time off for us as well. We like to look and reflect on the whole year and the things that went really well and the things that we would like to improve on. I would say, if I'm to be really honest, coming out at this point, given the way that this year has gone, it's been for me, and I know for a lot of you guys, a really exhausting year. And it has been that way because we've had to all adapt. So we've all been pushed really hard out of our comfort zone and into an unknown world where we have had to learn new things, new skills, and push ourselves in maybe whether we were ready for it mentally or not. And for that reason, I really want to stop this year and reflect on, do you know what? What are the things I've done really, really well? What are the things that I'm really proud of or really happy with or feel really great about? As much as the things that I feel, didn't go quite so well. And then let's have a look at going into, when I come back into work, what are a couple of things that I could learn? What are some new skills that I could take on next year that are not overwhelming, that I can take on step by step at my pace? I love thinking about what's one new thing. If I came out of next year and I'd learned this new skill or I had mastered something that right now is really challenging me, how would that feel if I got to that point? And so sometimes it's a little bit like, what could I do? Like what could I do to get myself there? What's one little step? And that was my thing I wanted to just put out there today. Once I work out where I would like to get to, because that can sometimes feel really overwhelming. Your thing might be, I want to have a business page on Facebook that's doing really well and I want to learn how to do that. That in itself can feel really overwhelming. But once you identify that, just pop it to the side and go, all right, so if I were to have a look at my first week back at work, what's one little thing that I could do to get myself there? Now, for example, if you're in our Quick Start course, for you, that one little thing might be, I'm going to do in my first week back, one of the 15-minute modules. That's it. And then that way it suddenly feels achievable, doable. It's not overwhelming anymore. And then you'll get out of that first week and you feel like you've achieved something. So start to plot a little plan but make it doable, make it achievable, make it not overwhelming. If whatever your plan is that you write down when you're doing your reflecting feels overwhelming, you need to break it down further, because I'd love to see you, like myself, going into next year feeling excited and enthusiastic rather than feeling overwhelmed and weighed down with what's to come. So reflecting is a huge big deal for Greg and I when we get to, a point of elation or negativity or depression or anxiety or any of those places. We need to stop, take a little moment. But we also do that when we go into our time off. We spend a bit of time reflecting alone and together over the year, over the months, over the quarters, over the seasons, and thinking about, what can we do better? What did we do really well? What are we happy with? What do we feel not so great about? And what are we going to do going forward? And then break it down to what's one thing I can do. Now, I also just want to finish off today on one little tip that was given to me a few months ago by a very, very special friend. Like I've just mentioned, this year has been, a full-on year for all of us. And I got to that point this year where I really, really needed some advice because I was feeling really flat. It's very draining. I know it seems strange, but it's very draining doing what we do because you are putting a massive amount of energy into every presentation. And there are some days that we'll do 2 or 3 or even 4 presentations or webinars where we've got hundreds of other people on the other end of the computer screen that we can't see. And we know that we need to leave those people with what they came in for. And we're really passionate about making sure we deliver great stuff. But that takes a huge amount of energy to do it. Not just the preparation leading up, but in just half an hour of presenting, like we can walk away feeling like, we don't, it's not about sleep. It's just about mental exhaustion. We just feel energetically drained. And I know some of you guys will know what I'm talking about because you work with your teams, etc., and you've been there, done that, and you totally get what I'm saying right now. So we got to a point this year where I was like, I need to find a way to refill. Now, if you're feeling a bit exhausted right now, you might be feeling stressed, anxious, tired. If you are, in any of those positions at the moment, here's something that a friend told me to do that has been so powerful this year to help me. And that was, she told me to sit down, grab myself a cup of tea or a glass of kombucha or something that is soothing, and sit down outside in the sun, in the peace and quiet, and reflect, write a list of things that soothe my soul, things that bring me joy or soothe my soul. She actually used the words, what soothes your soul? And she gave me some examples of this. It could be things like going for a walk, having a bath, having a cup of tea. One of her suggestions was eating a bag of chili chips. It could be the most basic stuff. It could be having a heart-to-heart with a great friend. It could be reading a book. So think about what are, and seriously, guys, this list has totally changed my world because it gives me something tangible and doable when I get to those points. So, and it was really fun coming up with this list. Greg and I went away and did it separately, and then we came together and we actually read our list to each other, because in that moment we were able to also share with each other what the other person, number one, values, what we need from each other and alone. And it also helped us to understand, for example, that when Greg goes out to his shed and he locks himself away there, that's one of his things that soothes his soul and brings him joy. And by me hearing that, it made me feel less like he was retreating from me and more like, great, now I know that's something he needs. And I actually take joy in knowing when he goes to do it, rather than thinking, oh, why is he doing that? Why does he need to get away? And the same with some of the things that I do. Me going for a run isn't me running away from him. It's me soothing my soul. So we came up with that list. I popped it in my drawer next to my bed so that when I get to those times where I just feel like I'm brain fried, I'm exhausted, I'm anxious, I'm tired, I can pull my list out and I can have a look. What can I do right now? Some things are, time consuming, but some are really, really simple. You know what? I could go have a bath. I could go spray on some perfume. I could go for a quick walk with the kids. I could go for a swim. What are those things for you? What are the things that soothe your soul? Because you are the most important thing now and forever. And you are not going to be the amazing parent you need to be, the amazing business person that you want to be. You're not going to be the amazing husband or wife that you need to be if you don't first take care of yourself. And again, preaching to myself here, guys, because this is a lifelong lesson that I think we all are learning. I don't think any of us will ever perfect or master this. But if there's one thing I can leave you with going into the holiday season this year, I would just really like to encourage you to take some time out for you. Step away from your tech. Don't plan on giving yourself any work to do over the holiday season other than your really basic stuff, and give yourself some time. Give your soul some soothing because you deserve it. But guys, I want to leave you with that today. I hope that for some of you that's been a little bit encouraging, maybe given you a few little ideas. I know some of these things have been so helpful to me over the last 6 months, and I hope for a couple of you they might be game-changing for you as well. But for right now, I really want to encourage you to take care of yourself. God bless. I look forward to seeing you all again next week on the podcast, and look after yourselves. We'll see you all again really soon. Bye for now.